My alpha husband never let me near him after our wedding. I knew he was saving himself for his omega first. Then on the night of our divorce I heard a strange voice. Husband, do we have to do this? Can't we just stay married? Before we go on, please subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're listening. Adrian's first was flying home, so he wanted to end our marriage. Conveniently, I was thinking the exact same thing. We had started out as a contract marriage, 2 years on paper, and today was the final day. Being the obedient, understanding partner, I printed the divorce papers and handed them over the moment Adrian walked in. Adrian didn't hesitate. He didn't even take off his shoes when he saw the stack of documents. He strode straight to the sofa, skimmed nothing, and lifted his pen to sign. Once the ink dried, we would go our separate ways. Husband, do we really have to divorce? Who just spoke? I lifted my gaze to Adrian. He sat on the wide sofa, long legs crossed, our divorce agreement in hand, brows furrowed, impatience written across his eyes. Yet if you looked closer, the hand holding the pen hovered motionless. Husband's looking at me. Do I look especially good from this angle? If I do, let's not sign, okay? Was that Adrian's inner voice? Adrian. I tested his name out loud. What? There's an error in the agreement. You want to draft a new one? I actually caught a sliver of hope inside that cool, unruffled tone. Heh, husband, you can't bear to let me go, right? Say it's wrong, give me that escape hatch and I'll put the pen down. Wara, husband, I don't want to leave you. I studied his face, trying to line up that perfect, mask-like indifference with the frantic voice echoing in my head. It was almost impossible to believe they came from the same person. The document seems off. Don't sign yet. I'll print a fresh one tomorrow. Fine, no rush. Just be clear on the property split, take whatever share you want, I don't mind. Adrian spoke in his usual refined, frosty voice, but inside he was cheering. Yes. Perfect. No divorce today. Starting tomorrow I'll stay away from home so husband can't find me, stall day after day. I refuse to divorce. Could Adrian actually like me? As soon as he came home he holed up in his study, emerging only for meals. Before, I'd been considerate enough not to intrude. Now I had other plans. I mixed a strong cocktail and knocked on the study door. Come in. Utterly flat, nothing like the fireworks going off in his head. What? Husband's at my door? Already done? Which lawyer works that fast? Hearing his noisy thoughts, I kept a straight face and carried the drink inside. Is the new agreement ready? Please say no. I don't want a divorce. I glanced over. His exterior was arctic, but the sidelong peek he shot me gave him away. He was loud, so loud. Who would guess this iceberg of a man hid a bouncing puppy inside? I pressed my lips together to keep from laughing. There's a snag. I'll have the lawyer redo it, should take 10 days to half a month. All right, I'm in no hurry. Show me when it's finished. Even better if it takes forever. I'll pay that lawyer to take a world tour starting tonight. Adrian spun the ring on his finger, our wedding band, custom-made before we ever met. He'd had a childhood omega, and everyone in our circle had assumed they'd end up together until I cut in. Destiny twisted. The omega left to study abroad, and an ordinary beta like me became the legal spouse of a top-tier alpha like Adrian. So Adrian shrugged and used those rings for our ceremony, and he never took his off afterward. I figured he wore it to remember the first he couldn't have. I never put mine on. It wasn't meant for me. Actually, I tried back when I still dreamed we might one day be a real couple. The band wouldn't fit my engagement finger or my wedding finger, so I gave up. I handed him the glass. Since we're calling it quits, let's have one last drink. Okay. He accepted the glass. Alcohol I'll drink, but we're not breaking up. A few sips and my head buzzed. Heat crawled over my cheeks. Adrian looked flushed too. For the first time, he reached for my hand. His long fingers crept across the desk, drumming a nervous beat until they bumped mine. Then they stilled. His warmed skin met mine. Husband, I want to hold your hand so badly. Drunk, his inner voice slurred like sleepy murmurings. I slid my hand forward, his closed around it. He lifted his gaze, eyes glassy with feelings I couldn't read. I stared back, hoping. If only he'd speak the words out loud, I could swallow every grievance of the past 2 years and start fresh. But I heard only his thoughts. Husband, I want to stay with you forever. Yet his face stayed blank, aloof. I decided separation really was best. Mr. Harrison, I'm afraid I can't proceed with your papers. I'll compensate you, but please find another attorney. A phone call woke me the next morning. The hangover kept me in bed until the sun was high, my head pounding. I contacted several top lawyers. Everyone said the same thing, can't take the case. My phone lit up with a text from Adrian. Noah, I'm on a business trip in England, won't be home for at least 2 weeks. Great, his perfect plan. Even if some lawyer resisted his payout and took my case, he could dodge the signing by flying across an ocean. Coward. Too scared to admit he loves me, too scared to divorce, resorting to cheap stunts. Back in the States, first stop, nightclub. Sebastian Adrian's childhood posted on Instagram, a video of their group at a bar. Under flashing neon, I spotted Adrian instantly. Still in his immaculate suit, only the tie was gone and the top 3 shirt buttons undone, skin on display. He was drinking, face crimson. Beside him, unfamiliar men and women who looked every bit like nightclub models. So this was his business trip? I laughed in disbelief. He swore he didn't want the divorce, sabotaged it, even faked a trip only to throw his childhood a welcome home party at a club. Were all those heartfelt thoughts in his head just worthless noise? I dialed his number. Ring, ring, ring. He always picked up at once, this time it rang forever. What is it? His tone was distant. Behind it pulsed loud music. I've hired a new attorney. The divorce papers are drafted and lying on the desk, just come home and sign. I'll move out of the estate tonight. We'll meet at City Hall Marriage Bureau after that. But I didn't wait for Adrian to finish. I hung up. In the last split second I heard a bright voice call his name Adrian. That voice belonged to Sebastian. I knew Sebastian, and I didn't. At Ellis he was a year ahead of me, in Adrian's class. Boys like them, old money heirs, never lacked for flatterers. Families like mine, merely comfortable, formed the main supply line. Back then I was basically Sebastian's groupie, fawning over him and every friend he had. There was nothing lustful in it. The one I secretly wanted was Adrian. I figured if I curried favor with Sebastian, became one of his crowd, I could boost my family's profile until we were respectable enough to approach the Hawthorne family and then chase Adrian. But Sebastian never noticed me, couldn't even recall my name, and I never cracked their circle. Meanwhile my parents rode the tech wave and muscled their way into the new money aristocracy, acquiring real clout. To bond with the old guard they arranged a contract marriage and they chose the beta son. Why not an alpha or omega? My alpha sister will inherit the company. Her marriage has to be strategic. My omega brother was raised in cotton wool. Nobody would dream of using him as a bargaining chip. The expendable one was the UN favorite child, me. After a parade of heirs turned up their noses at a plain beta, I met Adrian. Bracing for another rejection, I heard him say, "Marry me." My eyes lit. I stared straight at him. 2 years. Contract marriage. The light in my eyes dimmed again. 2 years. Even a wooden block like Adrian might sprout feelings, right? Instead he stayed glacial. We never even had an honest conversation. Once I put on something deliberately provocative, he threw the garment back at me and pushed me away. You don't have to do this. Only at the very end, when I absurdly began hearing his thoughts, did I learn he loves me. Love. It was hilarious, utterly ridiculous. The first draft of the divorce agreement had been fine. Claiming otherwise was a lie to stall the split because I didn't want it. Now I no longer wished to tangle with him. I printed a fresh copy, signed it, and parked it on the console table where he'd see it the instant he walked in. I started packing. I'd thought 2 years would fill mountains of boxes, yet one suitcase swallowed everything. My entire marriage, condensed to 20 kilos. I opened the bedroom door to leave and lurched into a whisker-scented embrace. Adrian literally crashed into me. The hug I'd dreamed of came only when I was walking out. Husband, don't go. I heard his silent plea again. His lips stayed sealed. I pulled free and shoved the papers at him. Weren't there problems with the last draft? New lawyer already. I've rung half the firms in town. Why did husband draft another set? I misread the first one. This version is clean. Sign. Adrian lifted the pen but wouldn't lower it. Aren't you supposed to be in England? How'd you get back so fast? Shit. I flew home the instant I heard him say divorced. Damn. I told him I was leaving for England. How do I fix this? And the booze, did you start a tasting flight at 30,000 feet? I'm losing it. What excuse sounds believable? Can't let him know I'm still in the States dodging him. If he finds out, he'll be even angrier and push harder for divorce. I listened to the farce roaring inside his head. He forced a smile, voice brittle. Last-minute domestic deal came up. I postponed London a day, forgot to mention it. God, that's lame. What if husband doesn't buy it? For the first time his marble face wore something other than frost, pure puppy panic. The lie was pathetic, but I couldn't be bothered skewering it. If Adrian won't admit he cares and prefers clubbing with omegas, fine, maybe the man's already filthy. No need to report to me, we're contract spouses. I have no right to your calendar. Adrian, I'm done wasting my life on you. So why does it feel like needles in my chest? I pushed the papers toward him again. He still didn't sign, muttering about letting counsel review them. I'll have my lawyer double-check, then I'll sign. I walked past him, suitcase rolling. Noah. He shouted my name. Please don't leave. His heart screamed stay, his mouth managed one word. I pretended not to hear and stepped out. 3 days gone, Adrian hasn't come looking. His noisy heart keeps declaring love, yet he does nothing. The only call came from me. Adrian, are the divorce papers signed? I'm overseas on business. We'll talk when I'm back. Another lie, another continent. I'm exhausted. I stop caring. Sooner or later his fabrications will collapse, and we'll be strangers. Still, the ache won't quit. So I drown it in a lounge. Neon strobes bleach the fatigue from my face. A moody guitar riff cloaks my mood. Glass after glass of whiskey slides down my throat. My prep school years tasted like this. Sebastian isn't evil. I simply never registered. Wherever he appeared, a court followed. I sat on the fringe, unable to join their talk of trust funds and ski houses, waiting until some drinking game let me wedge in a sentence, still an outsider. Sebastian and Adrian, apex predators of the elite, were always the first targets, always cheerfully drunk, always the first to slump across the table. Then the wannabes toasted each other unconscious until the floor was a carpet of passed-out airs. Only I, the unnoticed kid, stayed vertical. Sebastian lolled boneless against whoever had also folded, maybe him, maybe her, maybe Adrian. Bitterness welled up, yet I still elbowed my way to Adrian and peeled the bodies off him. Adrian. Red-threaded eyes opened, he mumbled a name, likely Sebastian. Since the wedding I've barely touched alcohol. Tonight a few drinks already blur the edges. Hallucinations, even. Across the room a golden couple shimmers. I rub my eyes, focus. There they are, Adrian and Sebastian. Adrian's broad back blocks Sebastian almost entirely. The slice of face I catch is flushed, part pout, part plea, tilted up at Adrian. Adrian leans down, I can't see his expression. But I was sure he was smiling. They really were a match made in heaven. It was too far, too noisy. I could no longer hear Adrian's thoughts. Still, the distance was a mercy, it kept me from having to listen to their flirting. I dragged myself home like a ghost. I stared at my phone, praying Adrian would send something, anything. The screen lit up. I scrambled to grab it. My hands shook as I opened WhatsApp, but the message was from Sebastian. Sebastian, hey, I'm back in the States. Drinks tonight? Sebastian, why was he asking me out? Seriously? I twisted my mouth in a half-smile and shook my head. No need to guess, this was about Adrian. And, much as I hated admitting it, I still wanted any scrap of news about him. I went. Sebastian picked the same lounge where I'd once caught him wrapped around Adrian. When I walked in he was dressed to kill, glass in hand, holding court with effortless charm. I froze for a second. He was even more gorgeous than at Ellis. Long legs, knife-blade waist, skin like fresh cream, eyes bright enough to stop traffic. I couldn't breathe. No one could blame anyone for wanting him. Top-tier Omega deserves top-tier Alpha. A fourth-rate, scentless beta had no business wedged between them. He turned, catching sight of me, and called my name. I snapped out of it and forced a smile. Before I could speak he'd already pulled me into the seat beside him. Noah, the moment I landed I wanted to call you, but I've been buried in welcome back dinners. Finally, cheers. Sebastian could talk to a stone, even as strangers would have filled 3 hours. I didn't hear a word. My eyes kept flicking to his right hand every time he lifted his glass. A ring flashed under the bar lights. That rotation, just like the night Adrian spun his own band. My numb brain stung with a bitter joke. If Adrian loved me and loved Sebastian, which one of us was the other woman? I laughed. A passerby stopped to toast Sebastian. The man noticed the impossible-to-miss rock on his finger. Sebastian, that sparkler? I'm engaged. We picked matching wedding bands 2 years ago. If I hadn't gone to grad school in England, we'd already be married. 2 years. Adrian had been wearing his ring for 2 years. I'd never even checked whether ours were a matching set. I'd assumed he'd never lie about something that basic. Sebastian waved the stranger off and propped his chin on his hand, eyes crinkling at me. Brother-in-law, I'm practically at the altar, so please don't divorce Adrian. 2 years counts for something, right? Yesterday he begged me all day to talk you out of signing those papers. So the flirting I'd seen last night was Adrian pleading for help. Sebastian wasn't here to gloat, he was here to glue us back together. Nothing made sense. Let me spill one secret, but swear you won't tell Adrian I told you. He scared off every guy your parents set you up with, said he wanted you for himself. Then he slid his own resume across their desk, barged into your matchmaking dinner, and married you. The night you asked for divorce he got wrecked at my party, wouldn't even look at the models I'd invited. One call from you and he sprinted out like the building was on fire. Was Sebastian even speaking English? Adrian into me the whole time? Then why zero contact before the engagement? Why the icy contract only line on our wedding day? Why the frozen distance afterward, the monthly flights to England, the weeks hiding in Sebastian's shadow? Too absurd. Sebastian, stop yanking my chain. If Adrian cared, I'd have felt it. You wouldn't. You don't want Adrian, so you never noticed the way he lit up for you. He slapped a hand over his mouth like he'd slipped a performance so wooden it creaked. That Van Cleef ring flashed again, inches from his lips. Only then did I see the design was different. His was Van Cleef, mine and Adrian's were custom Cartier. Same designer taste, that's all. Sebastian patted my shoulder, paid the tab in one smooth move, and left me sitting in the glittering wreckage of every assumption I'd made. I had someone else in my heart. News to me. Apparently I'd misread Adrian and Sebastian, and Adrian and me. I speed-dialed Adrian. Free tonight? Let's talk. One last leap, I told myself, close the chapter on my teenage obsession with fireworks. He picked up on the first ring, as though he'd been waiting. Anytime. For you, always. We chose the house. Adrian looked as immaculate as ever, legs crossed, suit immaculate even for a night in, every hair locked down by product. Husband's home. Maybe I should just confess I don't want the divorce. He doesn't love me back, but I still love him. What the hell did he mean I don't love him? I cut to the chase. Did you engineer our matchmaking dinner, yes or no? Sebastian, what did you tell him? I said patch things up, not spill every last breadcrumb. If he finds out I blocked every suitor and forced myself into his life, he'll hate me. His face stayed marble calm, but I watched the mask fracture. I could almost hear the shards hit the floor. He stayed silent. I stepped closer, eyes boring into his. Husband's right in front of me. Answer me, Adrian. Yes or no? Yes. He exhaled like surrender. I was in love with you. I couldn't watch you marry anyone else, so I made sure I was the only candidate. I wanted you for myself. Then why the glacier act? Why not 1 inch closer after the vows? Because I'm dying to touch you. The mental shout rattled my skull, but his voice outside stayed soft, threaded with a tremor I'd never noticed. He was terrified of me. Because I was scared I'd fall even deeper. And you were waiting for someone else. I didn't want to trap you. I thought 2 years would be enough for you to love me or forget him. Instead, the moment he lands, you're ready to sign the divorce papers. Adrian, who do I love? You tell me. Who? I love Adrian. But his mind whispered a name. Sebastian. I love you, Adrian. You, no one else. I grabbed his shoulders, forcing eye contact. He blinked, wide-eyed. Who? Husband loves me? Can't be. I must have misheard. You, I repeated. Adrian, is the Hawthorne family in some kind of trouble? You'd even invent a lie like this. You don't have to fool me, husband. Even after the divorce, I'd still love you, still fix everything for you. I gazed at Adrian, full of grievance. Can you tell me why you keep thinking there's someone else in my heart? You orbited Sebastian all through Ellis. Wherever he went, you followed. Later you turned every arranged date into a tour of the entire social circuit just so you might bump into Sebastian. You flew overseas for weeks at a time, Germany, Sebastian's in Germany, and you thought I didn't know? The moment he came back you asked me for a divorce. We haven't even hit the 2-year mark, our contract hasn't expired. Adrian cried, those long peach blossom eyes pooled with tears, the rim scarlet. He practically begged. Don't divorce me, please. Even if it's a lie, you once said you like me. Since you like me, don't leave. All right, looks like nothing I say or do will convince Adrian I actually love him. I'll placate him first, there'll be time. I believe Adrian loves Sebastian. Adrian believes I love Sebastian. Sebastian really drew the short straw, getting scapegoated by both of us. How can I make Adrian believe I love him? I remember our first meeting. The very first time I saw him wasn't when I was shadowing Sebastian, it was on the track field. I'd twisted my ankle and was hopping to the infirmary when Adrian walked up. He said, "Hey, need a hand?" I nodded once and he swept me into his arms and carried me there. So intimate. My face flamed. I buried it and dared not look at him. Where did I bury it? Against his chest, apparently. Even more intimate. I heard a heartbeat about to burst, whether his or mine I couldn't tell. From that moment a seed of secret love took root. Afterward I became Sebastian's groupie, partly to cozy up for my family's sake, partly to give myself a legitimate excuse to get near Adrian. Who knew he'd misread it as me pining for Sebastian? I settled onto Adrian's lap, perching lightly on his knees, leaning in until my face was inches from his. I saw his ink-black lashes tremble, his throat bobbing. Husband is so gorgeous, such a perfect face. How did I ever deserve to marry him? A shrill inner scream from Adrian, then abrupt silence. Wait, will husband think I'm disgusting? I glanced down. Adrian had instinctively shielded himself, making me feel like some rogue. You claim you like me. Your crush is sitting in your lap and you do nothing? Adrian's face flamed crimson, even his mental voice stammered. Then his hand hovered at my waist as though I were a priceless treasure. So soft, want to squeeze. No, can't, husband will hurt. I clasped his hand and dug it hard into my waist. Like it? Ah. Before I finished, Adrian shot to his feet. I slid off his lap. He steadied my waist, then jerked away. The sudden motion made me yelp. What are you doing? Sorry, I didn't mean to. Haha, I'm dead. Pinched husband and almost dropped him, let me cry first. How did I never notice Adrian is an alpha whose inner monologue is pure drama and adorable to boot? I seized his hand and pressed it back to my waist. Soft. Like it, he stammered, soft. I adore it. Love it. Good. I backed him into the corner, rose on tiptoe, and kissed him. His face stayed aloof, but his ears blazed scarlet. His heart voice betrayed him again. Want to make out with husband in bed? When the long kiss ended I looked at him. Husband must need something huge to kiss and hug me like this. If he'd treat me this way every day I'd die happy. I kissed him again. He cradled my head and answered, restrained yet burning, until I was dizzy for air. Finally he let go. New to love, he didn't even know how to breathe. He panted hard. Sorry, I held back so long, this time I lost control. Husband started it, can't blame me. You like my lips. Like them. Good. This is only my second attempt at seduction, still clumsy. Second. I knew it. I'm heartbroken. I jabbed his forehead with my index finger. The first attempt was aimed at you too. I threw shame to the wind, danced in that outfit right in front of you, and you still wouldn't look, just pushed me away and bolted. I was crushed. I told myself, fine, I'll stop liking Adrian. He doesn't like me at all. Adrian rushed to explain. I almost lost it that night, but I was terrified you'd hate me. How many idiotic things have I done? A proud man like husband must have been devastated. He gripped my shoulders, misty eyes locking on mine. I put on a fragile, tearful look. But now I finally know why. All this time I despised myself for being shameless. Adrian, that incident hurt me for 2 whole years, made me feel worthless. I've loved you since prep school. Remember when you carried someone to the nurse? That someone was me. I fell for you then, but I didn't dare show it, so I became Sebastian's lapdog just to orbit near you. Adrian hugged me tight. I always thought you loved Sebastian, that you only married me because your family pushed, that the 2-year term was timed for his return. I filed for divorce when he came back, not because I like him, but because I thought you did, and I wanted to bow out gracefully. Also, I didn't know he was in Germany, I thought he was in England, so whenever you flew out I assumed you were sneaking off to London to see him. I poured every secret I'd buried into his ear. By the end, sour sadness flooded me and I wanted to cry. I leaned against him and let the tears fall. Husband's crying? Wait, we lost 2 years. He actually likes me? What kind of bastard moves have I pulled all this time? I'm sorry, I didn't know. I pressed a finger to his lips, shushing him. I don't want to hear that. Husband won't let me apologize, is he mad? How do I coax him? Dummy. I sighed helplessly. I want to hear I love you. I love you. He kissed my forehead. I laid my hand on his chest. Next time speak up, all right? If I couldn't hear your thoughts we'd have missed each other. Wait, he can hear everything. Even those thoughts. I teased him with a smile. I know every idea in your head. Next rut cycle, skip the suppressant shot, let me soothe you, okay? Okay. I was wrong. An alpha's stamina during rut is insane. Last time I opened my heart to Adrian, this time he opened all of me. After a stretch of days so sweet they felt like honey, his rut cycle arrived. Even though I thought I'd gotten used to Adrian, I still couldn't quite handle it. I was going to die. He was like a rabid dog, nipping east, gnawing west, not missing an inch, as if he wanted to bite all that bottled-up love straight into my bones. When I woke up each morning I found faint bruised crescents blooming everywhere. Every time I tried to beg him to stop, I heard the voice inside his head. Husband, I love you so much. My resolve melted. Fine, this was the one rut cycle I'd ever share with him. Let him be excessive. The next time I opened my eyes it was already noon. Adrian lay beside me. If he'd been a dog, his huge tail would have been wagging non-stop. He pulled me close, cheek pressed to cheek. Husband, you're awake. I glanced at the ring on the hand he had draped over me, and the longer I looked the more it irritated me. Oh, right, how had I forgotten? I yanked the ring off his finger and set it on the nightstand. We're buying new ones. Mine doesn't fit anymore. That's impossible. I measured your finger. When? 2 years before we got married. I measured, then had them made. His voice shrank smaller and smaller, until even he seemed to realize how ridiculous that sounded. 2 years, people gain or lose weight. Adrian was an idiot. I remembered the alumni gala 4 years ago. I'd had a couple of drinks and felt hazy. Someone had brushed the back of my hand, and when I looked up the person had vanished into the crowd. I thought my memory was playing tricks. Turned out it was Adrian. I stretched my hand toward him. Measure again, and get it right this time. I intend to wear this ring for the rest of my life. Extra, Adrian's POV sorry. A body slammed into mine, scattering the books he carried. I was about to scold him when he scrambled to gather them, apologized without meeting my eyes, and hurried off. I picked up a sheet he'd dropped. Alex, Noah. I watched his retreating back. The thin uniform polo clung to him, the faint ridge of his shoulder blades oddly beautiful. So the underclassman had a name. I saw him again on the track field. He'd twisted his ankle and was hopping pitifully. Feeling magnanimous, I walked over. Need help? Noah nodded, and I lifted him in my arms. His head rested against my chest. My heart pounded like a drum. The sun was brutal, scorching my face. The next time I ran into the underclassman was at Sebastian's birthday. The room was packed with heirs we'd grown up with. Only Noah stuck out like a sore thumb. He lingered on the fringe, sitting quietly, but his eyes tracked Sebastian everywhere. So he was Sebastian's little fan. An inexplicable irritation flared. I made an excuse and left early. Glancing back, I saw him still curled on the vast sofa, gaze glued to Sebastian. I kept bumping into Noah. This time he was feeding cats. Several gorgeous strays lived near campus. Everyone jokingly called them our upperclassmen seniors and kept them sleek with treats. Noah cradled a filthy one, its matted fur nothing like the pampered crew. He didn't care that muddy paws left brown paw print blossoms on his white shirt. "You poor thing, let's get you cleaned up," he murmured. Then I heard he'd cut class, even skipped Sebastian's party that night. I peeked at Sebastian's phone and saw Noah's Instagram post. Newest member of the family. He held the grimy kitten, a parade of cats behind him, smiling like the sun. I felt that happiness leak through the screen. "Adrian, why are you grinning like an idiot?" Sebastian waved a hand in front of my face. I wiped the smile away. I hadn't realized I was smiling that hard. At every gathering I scanned the room for Noah. His eyes chased Sebastian, mine chased him. I was in love with Noah, but he loved Sebastian. I looked at the friend I'd grown up with, conflicted. A gentleman helps others win, so I wouldn't interfere. I wished Noah success and happiness. "Noah's getting married?" A buddy griped about being dragged to a family-arranged date, mentioned an underclassman. I pressed. It was Noah. A surge of nameless anger shot through me. Was he in that much of a hurry? I combed through Noah's recent social calendar. He'd speed-dated half the city's eligible heirs, Alpha, Beta, or Omega, rejecting every one. But the day after tomorrow he would meet Sebastian. Years after graduation, and he still couldn't forget Sebastian. "Do you like Noah?" I called Sebastian and cut straight to the point. "Because I do." "You're not allowed to." Sebastian laughed in exasperation. "Adrian, why bring him up? We haven't talked in ages. Besides, I'm about to nail the person I actually want." Good. Noah and Sebastian were impossible. If they were impossible, Noah and I might be possible. After agonizing, I handed my resume to Noah's father and shoehorned myself into tonight's matchmaking dinner. "Let's get married. Contract marriage, 2 years. Noah agreed, but his eyes were hollow. He blamed me for ruining whatever slim chance he'd had with Sebastian. After all, I had more money and clout. His father would push him toward me. Fine, we had 2 whole years. Noah would fall for me eventually. Married life was icy. Half a month in, Noah flew to Germany on business. Sebastian had left for grad school there the day before. Clearly Noah's trip was pilgrim love. The fruit you twist off the branch really is sour. Bitterness flooded me. When Noah came home, he announced we should finally consummate our wedding night. He posed and preened, and all I felt was sorrow. He didn't want me. He was selling himself for profit. I nearly lost control, but instead I tossed him his clothes and stumbled out. "I want Noah, but only if he wants me too. Emery, I'll make him choose me freely." 2 years have passed. Noah still loves Sebastian, not me. He still sneaks off to Germany to glimpse him. Do we really have to divorce? I don't want to. But the contract was 2 years. If I renege now he'll hate me. I lift the pen, poised over the divorce papers, praying for a miracle. "Husband, please don't divorce me." Some soft-hearted deity must have heard, because Noah's voice rang out. "There's a typo in the agreement, don't sign yet. I'll bring a fresh copy tomorrow." Thank God, no divorce today. I'll stall however I can. If necessary I'll confess. "I love you, I don't want a divorce, I'm going to win you back." Since Noah missed his perfect exit, I'll never let him go. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the story, hit like and share with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.